It's not all bath bombs and bubble baths. It's not. So what is self-care? Hello, welcome to the joyful side. I'm so happy you came back. I'm so glad if you're new here. Welcome, everybody is welcome here. And I have 100 people on the joyful side. I would like to start by saying absolutely thank you and that I'm so grateful. And it makes me happy to know that people want to hear what I'm talking about. So you know what, we're gonna talk today, okay? Let's talk about self-care. Let's talk about self-care. Because like I said, it is not all bath bombs and bubble baths. It's not, that's a component, 100% sure. It's not all it is. See, but that's what the media, that's what everybody focuses on, right? But there's a good and a bad to everything. And the part of self-care that we're gonna be talking about today is the part that people don't really talk about. It's the part where we get to the deepest, darkest parts of ourselves and we examine, we accept, we are aware, and we continue, we grow. See, that's self-care. That's emotional self-care. There's spiritual self-care, there is emotional self-care, there's physical self-care, and there's personal self-care. There's a lot of different types of self-care, but for now we're going to be focusing on 4 types, like I just said. The first part, let's get into the obvious, personal self-care. This can definitely look like your hobbies. This can look like having a bath every night. This can look like a pamper night once a week or a couple times a week, every day. And take what I'm saying with a little grain of salt, okay? This is different for everybody. But the nitty-gritty, getting to the deep and darkest, that's for everybody. But that's what not everybody knows. And that's what I'm here to teach you. That's what I'm here to share, right? In my first video, I remember saying, I am starting YouTube because I want to create videos like this that help people. I want to help people. Like, that's why I'm doing YouTube. So let's do it. Let's do it together. That's what we do here. So if you're new, I'm happy. I'm really happy that you're here. Like, in all seriousness, like with my whole heart. Like I said, let's start with personal self-care. Personal self-care is, sorry, I got off track. I was talking about having a bubble bath, having time to yourself, pampering yourself. This can look like getting to know yourself. There's a balance in life. Having a bubble bath, that's spending time with yourself, 100%. That's not the only component to self-care though, is my point. You see what I'm saying? Getting to know yourself, how is that a form of self-care? What is self-care? Self-care is the act of caring for ourselves. So being alone gives us that opportunity. It gives us an opportunity to let our thoughts wander, to see what we like to do. It gives us an opportunity to become creative. What do we want to do with this time? Time is very valuable on earth. It is, because we don't know how much we have of it. That's why I personally like to live my life the way I do, okay? Because we're not promised tomorrow. Getting to know yourself requires solitude. You have to be alone. You have to be alone with your thoughts. And to some people, that's scary, being alone with their thoughts. And I get it. But that's the only way. Like, the only way out is in. You can't run from what's up here. Because you can practice all the self-care you want. You can practice physical self-care, which is, moving your body. You can do that. But if you don't do your personal self-care and your emotional self-care and take care of what's going on up here, what are you doing? You're not doing it to the full potential, is my point. We have to spend time with ourselves. That's a part of personal self-care. So leading me into emotional self-care, this is boundaries, journaling, getting to the nitty-gritty of who we are, of why we do the things we do. Let me ask you a question. How can we change if we are not aware? How can we change if we can't accept? The answer is you cannot. You can't. If you're not accepting, you're living in a state of denial. You're refusing acceptance because it's hard. Because we want something different and we can't accept the situation for what it is. Because deep down, we want something different. Acceptance is accepting it for the way that it is. And that is hard when we're so caught up in our brains of how we want something or how it is for other people but we all are living our own human experience on earth. And like I said, we don't know how much time we have. So we must accept what it is, right? Our life, like I said in my first video, it was actually it was number 17, that the sooner you realize your life is already planned out by divine timing, the happier and more calm of a person you will be. Exactly. The sooner that you accept that, your life will be so much smoother. You'll realize that everything that is meant for you will come to you. Everything that's not will go. But things come and go. People come and go. Emotions come and go. And that's what we have to accept. That's what we have to live in the moment. That's the same thing as feeling mad. And if we don't want to feel mad, we get mad at ourselves for feeling mad because we want to be happy. We're so set on the fact, I want to be happy right now. I don't want to be mad. So we're getting mad at ourselves for being mad. If you accept the fact that you're mad, rather than instead of not accepting, you're going to prolong that anger because you're not accepting for what it is. If you're mad, you're mad. Accept that. That is okay. See, but a lot of people tell us, and we're even taught, we're even raised, and we learn that it's not okay to always express these emotions. And let me tell you that that is false. Any emotion you feel is valid. Any emotion you feel is natural, and any emotion you feel is a messenger. If you're feeling angry, if anger arises within you, it's bringing you a message. Why are you angry right now? See, this is getting to the nitty gritty. If there's a negative emotion right now, say it's anger, say it's frustration. Why am I frustrated right now? Well, that once you get to the root of it, once you figure out, okay, maybe, I'm just gonna use an example. Maybe say something is happening and you can't accept it. You didn't want it to go that way. So you're frustrated. You're frustrated. And that's normal. That's natural. That is okay. That is valid. Please know this. But we're taught the opposite. It's not valid. It's not normal. It's normal. It's valid. We're human. Okay? Let's remember that. Why are we frustrated? Because something we wanted we're not getting. Something blah blah. Accept that. We're not getting it right now. Accept that emotion. Sit with that emotion. And this is where self-talk comes in. Talk to yourself like you would your inner child. This is inner child healing. That's a whole other video, trust me. Once we bring awareness to that emotion, that frustration, then we can accept that. And that's where healing comes in. Because the first 2 steps to healing is awareness. Because like I said, how are you going to change something you're not aware of? You can't. How are you going to change something you can't accept? You can't. See, once you accept, once you are aware, you can grow, you can heal, you can evaluate, and you'll flourish. So another component to emotional self-care, and this is a big one, I love this one, it's hard. Same like accepting and awareness is hard, okay? It's hard. I can admit it, it's hard. I've done it myself, it's hard. It's forgiveness. It's forgiveness. See, we don't forgive other people for their sake. We don't do that. No, not here on the joyful side. No, we don't. Okay, if we're going to forgive somebody, we're letting that energy go for our sake. When we have a grudge on somebody, that's because they did something to us that we didn't like. So it is up to us. Are we going to hold on to that and reminisce over it? Or are we going to accept it and let it go? See? There's forgiveness. Let's use an example. Let's say somebody did something to you. Like I said in my first video, everybody that comes into your life is either a lesson and blessing or both. So when somebody comes into your life and they hurt you or they do something that you don't like, we can choose to hold on to that and hate them and despise. But like I said, number 6, we don't have room. You know what I mean? We don't have room in our heart to hate. I don't have room in my heart to hate. So what I do is I accept. I take the lessons. Like I said, every person is either a lesson, a blessing, or both. So you take the lesson and you let it go. You let the regret go. You let the guilt go. You let it go. What you take from that situation is more important than holding on to the worst part of it, which is what they might have done or what they might have said or whatever. Taking the lesson and accepting it allows us to forgive, allows us to let go. It's easier said than done. Don't let me fool you, okay? It's easier said than done. I can admit so myself. let me tell you, that's forgiveness. That's forgiveness, and that's huge. It's a huge part to self-care, right? We don't forgive people for other people. We forgive people for ourselves. And like I said, when we forgive, we let go of these things and we make room in our heart for things that are actually meant for us. And I can say that from my own personal experience. That is a fact. That's true. Okay, please take it from me. Another part to emotional self-care is boundaries. It's setting boundaries within ourselves. And see, this is something that we're often taught to be maybe ashamed of or guilty for. Guilt is the feeling associated with the fact that you think you're going to get backlash for something. You feel guilty, you feel, oh, I shouldn't have done that, and this is gonna happen. You know what's going to happen when you have boundaries is you are going to protect your energy. One of the most beautiful things about our human experience is that we have something called free will, and we can choose whether we want to or not. And this is where boundaries come in. Do you want to or not? You don't have to force yourself. You don't have to. Force is not, it's not ever a good thing. That's like denial, right? That's what I was talking about before. That's like not accepting the fact that we are feeling this frustration, right? We want to feel something else. We want to feel, or mad. We want to feel happy. We don't want to feel mad, but so then we get mad at ourselves for being mad. And like, no, we have to accept this emotion because it's a messenger. See, emotion, energy in motion. When we move, this is where physical self-care comes in. We are taking care of ourselves, right? This is very important. That's what I'm saying. Boundaries are not something to be guilty of or feel guilty for setting or feel guilty for sticking to. It's not. But let me tell you, other people will make you feel like that. Other people have probably made you feel like that your whole life. You see what I'm saying? This is where we unlearn. On the joyful side, this is what we do here. We unlearn these negative habits, these negative behaviors, these negative ways of thinking because we don't do it like that over here. That's a big part of emotional self-care. But like I was talking about physical self-care, let's get into that now. Physical self-care is where we get these emotions, energy in motion, and we put it to work. If we're feeling a little anxious, if we're feeling a little we are going to move. That's self-care. Dance. Do yoga, go on a bike ride, go on a walk in nature. Like that is all forms of caring for ourselves. See, self-care, care, self. Let's switch the words. Care for ourselves rather than self-care. Let's care for ourselves rather than just, do self-care. And let's have a bubble bath with an $18 bath bomb. Like, you know what I mean? It's not the same. And it's not all about that. It's about getting to the nitty-gritty of being aware and accepting, because that equals healing. Because that's hard. Forgiveness is in there too. So why not? You know what I mean? It's hard. Those three things, accepting, awareness, and forgiving, are hard. But they are so beneficial because you're free. You know what I mean? Forgiving. When you forgive, you're no longer holding on to this negative energy, this guilt, this regret, this fear. It's gone. When you accept, you realize, oh wow, this is why I do what I do. I can change. You are aware why you do what you do, and you can accept it, and it can change. You know how you hear some people say, well, that's just the way I am. Well, do you want to stay that way? Because you don't have to. You don't have to. We can wake up, we can rewire our brains, neuroplasticity. We are able to rewire our brains as acting as if. Ask your better self, what would I do right now? Do it. You're going to rewire your brain, and you are going to engage in neuroplasticity, and you are going to literally change the chemistry in your brain. There we go. Spiritual self-care. What's spiritual self-care? What did I save the best for last? Okay. This can look like a lot of different things, but for me, I'm gonna go into the biggest one. I feel is journaling. Journaling is huge. Shadow work. It's huge, and that is what gets us to the awareness and the accepting. Shadow work, journaling, so important. That's personally how I got to the nitty-gritty. That's how I got to my awareness. That's how I got to accepting. Is writing down these problems, writing down these thoughts, these reoccurring emotions, writing it down and getting a second perspective of it on paper is so much more beneficial than you would think. So please try journaling. Okay, journal down your deepest, darkest thoughts. That is psychologically beneficial. Getting out, that is releasing those emotions, that energy. Getting it out onto paper is a form of release. And that's what we want. We want to release these emotions. This is caring for ourselves spiritually. This is caring for ourselves emotionally. Our emotions, we're caring for our emotions. We're caring for ourselves by releasing it, by not holding on to them anymore, by not keeping them deep suppressed in our subconscious, because that is weighing us down physically. That's weighing us down emotionally. That's weighing us down. See, we don't want to do it like that. We don't do that here on the joyful side anyway. Okay. Like another part of caring for ourselves in a spiritual way is meditation. The average human being has approximately 200 thoughts in a day. How many of those are reoccurring? How many of those are from the day before? How many of those are new? When we think new and we practice new habits, new behaviors, we are practicing neuroplasticity. This is the study on positive psychology that our brains are able to change. See, scientists thought for years that after childhood, our brains stayed the same. No. Positive psychology is a new branch of psychology developed around 20 years ago. It's brand new. And it talks about this, neuroplasticity, and how we can change our brain, and how our brains adapt, and how they do change throughout the years. See, our brain has, like I said, over 6,200 thoughts. Most of them are reoccurring. So what does this mean? Meditation is a huge part of caring for ourselves spiritually, because in meditation, we have no thoughts. Parts of our brain turn off. When you're sleeping, your brain's not asleep. How do you dream? Your brain is working very hard. Your subconscious brain is working very hard. That's why people say if you have a dream and you remember it the next day, it wasn't a dream, it was a message. Meditation is the one time in our day that we have no thoughts. We're focusing on our breath, and we can feel our own energy, and we can focus on what our fingertips feel like. Is my hand hot or cold right now? We can scan our body. We can scan for emotions. Where do I feel this anxiety? Where do I feel this anger? Where do I feel this excitement? It's a big, huge form of self-care, and specifically spiritual self-care. Another huge part of spiritual self-care is reading, but not just reading, story tales in like books and stuff. I'm talking self-help books, knowledge books, you know what I mean? For example, I'm reading this book right now, Asking and Is Given, and it is amazing so far. Because knowledge is power. See, health is wealth. Feeling is healing. You see where I'm getting at? So now we are at the end of our video. We are at the end of the self-care video, okay? And I think I spilled a lot of knowledge on you guys. So like I said, take what I said with a little grain of salt, because it's different for everybody, okay? Definitely different for everybody. There's some things that I share that I have personally done that have helped me, like journaling and meditation and spending time in nature. Like, those things changed my life. Let's be real here. Anyway, thank you so much for coming back to the joyful side. I'm so happy that I have 100 of you guys on the side. Let me know in what way that this video has helped you. Let me know if you have any questions, or you just wanna let me know what's going on. Let's communicate that in my comments down below on this video. Just let me know, you know what I mean? Message me on Instagram anytime. DMs are always open. If you want to talk, I'm here. Like, I'm here for you. I'm your girl. Okay, I got you. I will see you in my next video.